Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jolera interview series. I'm your host, Paolo Del Nibletto, the Chief Channel Business for Jolera. This interview series features prominent executives and influencers from the IT industry talking about technology innovation, the as-a-service market, leadership, and marketplace overall. And today we're local at the TD SYNNEX Vendor Summit 23 in Toronto. And with me here today is Brian Oleksiuk, the president of one of the top MSP and solution providers in the country, Oxygen Technical Services of Winnipeg.
Yes.
Brian, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So we have Brian here to talk about what's going on with TD SYNNEX and life as an MSP, security, the new ways of working, and what's it like operating in Winnipeg. So Brian, really appreciate your time today.
Well, thanks for the invite.
No worries. So you're in town for the TD SYNNEX event. You're part of the distributors' very innovative Solve program committee. How has the combination of TD and SYNNEX been going so far for you?
From the auction perspective, it went quite well.
Mm-hmm.
I would say there's always going to be mergers when a company combines and it becomes a $62 billion entity. That's just natural.
Mm-hmm.
We were very fortunate in the respect that our legacy tech data team and the integration with the new TD SYNNEX sales team was really, I'm not going to say it was seamless. There were hiccups, but the hiccups were not game changers. They were not do or die,
Mm-hmm.
and we worked through it together, and now we get to have the benefit of the combined entity of TD SYNNEX now supporting us.
Fantastic. Overall, a positive experience for you.
Absolutely.
Great. So you're based in Winnipeg, and for a long time, whenever I speak to MSPs from the area, they always call it, a flyover zone. Has that narrative changed at all for you in the main market that you serve?
Well, Winnipeg we only have so much time.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, post-COVID is always it's a bit of a touchy subject because we are just getting back to the process of normalizing travel. The vendors, the distributors, executives, salespeople are now back on the road.
Mm-hmm.
We've been fortunate, I would say, even pre-COVID with our relationship with TD SYNNEX.
Mm-hmm.
I would say our involvement within the communities themselves has allowed us a certain level of intimacy with TD SYNNEX. And that intimacy has provided the opportunity where we have these manufacturers, whether it's the Dells of the world, the Ciscos, the Lenovos of the world. We've created a really positive relationship through distribution, and they've always found time to come to Winnipeg to meet with us, to do customer-facing events. We've even aligned ourselves with other IT companies within our market to say, hey, go visit them, visit us, let's get you out here, let's empower, let's show our customers how you as the manufacturers, you as the distributors are invested in our community to help our businesses grow. I think when you take that approach, creating a bit of a symbiotic approach between how we're all going to be successful, both for the manufacturer, us as the IT company, and our customers, and you're not afraid to actually share with other members in your community, it creates a positive outcome for everybody.
So as you're building your business out in Winnipeg, I noticed that on your website that you're trying to create a fun, engaging, and challenging environment, and it's quite interesting that to me when I look at things coming out of the post-pandemic world and this new way of working, did you feel that as an MSP you needed to become a leader in that and do it internal before you can go out there and say, hey, we can address some of the challenges that our customer has in terms of like in-person working, remote working, hybrid working, and the like of that?
Absolutely. It's so I'm gonna start off with right now, because we have a bit of a mandate where you want to get people back into the office, and I'll try to trail back to what it was like for COVID and the work from home and creating that hybrid environment. I had the opportunity to attend an event with TD SYNNEX and Cisco as part of their One Step Ahead program, and they took us down to New York City last month, and they gave us the opportunity to go to the brand new executive briefing center in Midtown Manhattan in New York, effectively one of their flagship executive briefing centers in the world. They invested millions upon millions of dollars in this environment to showcase what I would say the office environment should be now and also planning for the future. But they had a comment that resonated with me. Your work or your back to office strategy has to be a magnet, not a mandate. So you need to create an environment that people want to come back to. Mm-hmm. If you mandate them, you're pulling them. Mm-hmm. You're pulling them along. And sometimes people don't want to be pulled, especially right now. We're still in a very sensitive time in society. So by creating an environment where people want to be there, and nobody wants to be there 5 days a week right now. It's a bit of a slow burn trying to get back. But if you can create the environment, whether it's environmental, whether it's workspace, whether it's the accoutrement, good coffee, whatever it may be.
Right.
By creating that environment, it becomes a magnet to come back. People can collaborate. And we all know being in person, let's face it, you and I were going to do this virtually. The ability to do this in person just ups the game.
It's a much better experience.
It makes it more emotional, it makes it more personal, and it's better for everybody. That's what we're trying to achieve with your office space. And I like to think at Oxygen as, we've got 14,000 square feet. We've got, within our office space now, our head count is well over 100. So you're trying to juggle it, making sure as people join the team, you create that magnet environment where they want to be there, but also understand you have to be very, very cognizant that you're not going to get them there 5 days a week, 40 hours a week as well. So now that goes back to COVID and the work from home and the way that we had to change the way we engage both ourselves and our clients. And I think that's really, you can see the evolution of technology to allow for a consistent environment, whether you are at home or you are at the office. And so we as an IT, I like to call ourselves as an extended service provider, our job now is to work with the manufacturers to understand what type of technology do they have that can make that experience both at home, the home office, as well as at the normal office. How can we create that as consistent as possible while still protecting the data and making them as empowered and I would say as productive as possible? So you can see how you can go back and see the way that work from home evolved very quickly and how you have to understand you need to keep that environment consistent for the employees, but understand as we move forward, we have to now adopt and address new technologies to once again create that positive work environment for the staff. Amazing
analogy there, magnet over mandate.
I love, and once again, that is, I wish I could remember the gentleman's name from Cisco. I believe he was
not Chuck Robbins. Oh, from the UK.
No, from the UK, and he gave us the tour of the Executive Briefing Center. And once again, this is their flagship center in the world. So it was an amazing experience.
Well, if there's any company in this world that is progressively thinking about this, it's Cisco Systems.
Absolutely.
For sure. I want to get your take from a marketplace perspective on security and the as-a-service market. Seemingly a lot of challenges facing MSPs, not just you, but in general. What's Oxygen doing in these two areas?
In terms of
security and the as-a-service market?
Yeah, so, I use the term anarchy. And, you walk into these conferences and you walk up to your peers in the industry and you hey, how are things going? Everybody says, things are awesome. We're crushing it. Where clients are happy, onboarding new customers, we're killing it. And my response to that, well, for us, it's anarchy. And they go, well, what do you mean it's anarchy? I go, well, you're trying to retain great employees. You're trying to attract new talent. You're trying to see who you can bring along and maybe offboard some team members. It's the same way with our platforms. We are inundated with so many different options when it comes to a platform like cybersecurity. So if we address the cybersecurity question, directly here, we as a IT provider, and this is this is global from my perspective, we have to understand what platforms should we be using, what platforms do we need to get rid of, and then what platforms are we not utilizing to their fullest extent. Cybersecurity, that ecosystem, from my perspective, is probably one of the biggest indicators of anarchy. Right now, on average, an IT company like Oxygen will have approximately 16 different vendors they will be working with on cybersecurity. 16. And that's not, this is a industry number that's come out from different organizations.
So are you saying that's a norm as opposed to like overall complexity?
We're not even talking about the complexity of the platforms. We're just talking about they have 16 platforms. So you start looking at this, okay, how many clients do I have that have a Sonic Wall firewall, have a Fortinet firewall, have a WatchGuard firewall? Okay, we as IT companies, we want to standardize, but as we bring on new customers, they're going to have a different ecosystem that we still have to support as we onboard.
Sure, yeah.
Okay, what do they have for endpoint security? Well, they have Sophos, they have Bitdefender. Okay, that's great. What version? Oh, they've got an MDR platform here, but they're just using endpoint protection over here. Oh, geez, okay. How are we ingesting all this data into our platforms so we can make better decisions and actually execute on a critical incident plan when something bad does happen? So that's just a small little taste of what you can have from a cybersecurity environment. Never mind talking about social engineering, before different social engineering platforms that you can use for end user training. How are we utilizing that? So you can see you can very quickly get up to double-digit amount of vendors that you're working with that you now have to make critical decisions on behalf of the client. You've got anarchy.
You got anarchy.
You've got anarchy. So the opportunity now, and this is where TD SYNNEX comes into play because their job is to get rid of that anarchy. You've got the resources through a distributor like TD SYNNEX where they can bring different resources to play who will help you apply, for example, the NIST cybersecurity framework.
Right.
Okay, how can I apply NIST to my service offering to better protect my clients? That's the power of I would say, of distribution, where they can sort of get rid of the muddying of the waters. So when we talk about cybersecurity, there's a lot going on. We as IT companies, we need to get focused on what we can do. And typically what we can do is respond to the issues, but we need to partner with top tier cybersecurity companies who provide a set platform.
Right.
So you're not trying to go through different platforms and try to make decisions through, I would say, once again, an anarchy-based solution process.
All right, so a couple of personal questions to close off. I read on your LinkedIn bio that you're a volunteer with the Canada Summer Games. I certainly remember those as a kid. Watched them on CBC mostly. Ontario always seemed to win.
Well, you got a few people in Ontario.
There's a few, yeah, right. But it seems like technology and sports is really getting more closer together. I want to ask you, as a technology provider, how do you work about embedding that sort of technology in sports today, and why did you want to volunteer specifically for the Canada Summer Games?
Well, so 2015, I had a friend of mine said, "Hey, come on down to the Manitoba Sports Hall of Fame. We're talking about about doing some stuff in the community." So I go trudging out to the Sports Hall of Fame, little wine and dine type of thing. Oh, by the way, we would like you to volunteer and
voluntold.
And effectively run the technology function for the 2017 Canada Summer Games. I'm like, I didn't even realize we're having the Summer Games in 2017. Yeah, surprise. Would you like to do that? And I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
Obviously I'm passionate about my family. But two things I'm very passionate outside of my family is technology and sports and competition.
Right.
So I'm like, man, this looks like a lot of fun. Little did I know that as we ramped up towards the games, we were providing technology support, including infrastructure support, for 32 competition and non-competition venues. We had, I think, approximately 120 volunteers just for technology amongst those different venues. And our whole mandate was to make technology boring. Because we did not.
And how many athletes?
That was one of the largest summer games they had. I want to say about 5,000 athletes.
5,000 athletes.
Yeah, and remember, they come through in two different
So this would be a large enterprise that you'd be.
This was a large enterprise.
Yeah.
We were effectively going for about, I'd say, 3 months straight
Wow.
Operational 24/7 as all the different services came online. I will tell you that was one of the funnest experiences of my life. All three of my kids were able to volunteer in different venues. My wife and I, obviously, we volunteered as well. We got the Oxygen team involved, so they were able to volunteer. And then, of course, at the same time, we're actually able to be a vendor to the Canada Games and actually provide a lot of the technology. And we got to work with a vendor like, for example, Cisco Meraki, in creating the entire infrastructure for all these venues. But I will say that one of the proudest things that came out of this is we actually created a full technology playbook for the Canada Games Council.
Oh, so they can use that for future. Brilliant.
Like we had everything mapped out for every single venue. Was there baseball, slow pitch, soccer, whatever it was. Every single venue knew exactly what they needed in terms of wireless access points, in terms of laptops, in terms of fire, whatever it was to enable the tech, in terms of VLANs to secure the different networks that they had going on. So we were able to provide a full playbook for them that they've been able to take forward and execute on.
That's great, and so you leave a lasting legacy to the Santa Summer. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. I also want to ask you about your background. You're a master corporal. How has the military service benefited you in business and the community you serve with Oxygen?
Well, so obviously, with anytime you have the honor of serving something greater than yourself, it's empowering. So you're in the military, you learn discipline. You learn accountability. You learn to have fun. You learn to balance, because if you're going full bore all the time, you are going to burn yourself out. And these are core values that I've taken with me throughout my entire life. We've actually applied it to our businesses as well. The interesting part about the military, though, is because of the branch of the military that I worked in Communication Command, which is different than the Army, Navy, or the Air Force. We were the tip of the technology spear when it came to technology. So I was working at Air Command, the headquarters for the Canadian Air Force in Winnipeg, 17 Wing, and I had the opportunity to get into network administration, computer networking. You're like, well, what's that?
Yeah.
Because I was used to working with big radios that would communicate around the world, and some of them were encrypted, some of them weren't encrypted. We would set up 80-foot antennas. What are we doing now? Well, we're going to show you. And so that got me to apply those core values that I learned, just from being in the military. Now I got to apply this technology. And I will forever be grateful for the lessons that it taught me, and also the opportunities it created for me. Community, 100%. I think that's an important thing we need to focus in on here. Is we as business owners, as entrepreneurs, as people who are working within our communities, we have to understand the community is what is giving us what we need, whether they're clients, whether they're employees, whatever it may be. It's our duty to give back to that community. It could be in service to your country in the military. It could be volunteering to a homeless shelter. But I think we always need to remember that it's our duty. We're bound to give back to the communities in whatever way possible, because we want to. That's how we all.
I totally agree. Brian, I'm all out of questions, but do you want to add anything? You felt I didn't cover any of my questions about your story today.
No, I have to say though, when I was, we had the questions about the personal questions. So yesterday in the event, they're talking about ChatGPT and Bing, and so they said what you need to do is you need to throw your name into a ChatGPT search, and you're going to be shockingly surprised at what's going to be spit out. It's amazing what you can learn about yourself by using AI. So
what did you learn about yourself using?
Well, it was like I'm like, oh my word, yeah, Paolo's pretty much spot on with the questions about my personal life here. So congratulations, good research. So
thank you. I appreciate that. Well, we really appreciate you being with us and giving us your time. It was great, tremendous insight as always. Where can people find you online or on social media?
LinkedIn once again. Just do a search for Brian Oleksiuk. I love to connect with people. I actually, just this morning, I posted a LinkedIn message about Sean Ardell, who's the VP of cyber solutions for TD Synnex about some amazing stats that are coming through about what's happening in.
He was great yesterday, I have to say.
Yeah, so one thing I really do want to recognize,
Yeah.
it is October, it is Cyber Awareness Month, and now is a great time to understand how you as an individual and the company organization that you're working with, what you're doing to protect your data, as well as what you're doing to make sure that we don't give the bad guys a chance.
Exactly. And there are more bad guys than good guys, like Brian said yesterday.
Yep.
So, Brian, thank you very much for your time. That's Brian Oleksiuk, the president of Oxygen Technical Services of Winnipeg. Thanks again for your time being with us. It was always tremendous. And that's it for me, Paolo Del Nibletto, signing off for Jolera Interview Series. Until next time, so long.